Hey everyone, this is Mitch from GamerRN. Sly Cooper probably was one of the most well-known characters from the PlayStation 2 and 3 era. Shoot, I was an Xbox fanboy back then, and I even heard of Sly Cooper. If you were friends with someone back then, and they had a PlayStation, you probably definitely heard of it. Basically, Sly Cooper is kind of a big deal. And recently, I was scrolling through Macari and Amazon, and I saw a copy of the Sly Cooper collection, and honestly, I didn't know that was a thing. But you can put your money on it. At that moment, I realized it. I wanted it. So I actually bought a copy off of Macari, and I was trying to think to myself how I would get my PlayStation 3 to record. And if you've seen one of my recent videos, I think I talked about how I picked up a PlayStation 3 for a pretty cheap price at a secondhand store, because I always wanted to go back and play some of those games. But for whatever reason, randomly, I just looked it up on the PlayStation Store, and I saw that they had all 4 games on there for people with PlayStation Plus memberships. So I downloaded all 4 games and decided right there I would go for the Platinum Trophy in each one of them. Now, in case you have no knowledge of this game for whatever reason, let me give you a background of the game. You'll be playing as Sly Cooper, the last remaining member of the Cooper clan, a long line of master thieves. Sly was initially supposed to inherit the clan's book called the Thevius Raccoonus, which contained secrets from the past Cooper members. But the book was stolen by a group and his family was killed. Now, it's up to Sly and his friends to find the pages to the book and piece it back together. The game is a stealth action platformer. Now, I also just want to give a quick disclaimer. If for whatever reason during this video you can hear my dog is sitting in my office with me right now as I record this, and she can be a little loud, so I apologize about that. Comment a game that you want to see me platinum or 100%, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Now let's get into the platinum journey. I want you to sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy. To start off this journey, I decided to look up a guide, finding my way to PSN profiles. Now, I normally don't use this website, but it was the top search in one of the more used websites, and I like the layout of it, so I went with this guide for the trophy. Now, looking at the guide, it looked like it would take me roughly 10 hours. That was one of the big reasons why I wanted to play this game next. Honestly, coming off playing a game like Ghost Recon Wildlands, where I spent close to 80 to 90 hours collectible hunting, I really wanted something quick and simple. 10 hours in my head seemed like something I could complete in a day. However, with a family, I decided to give myself 3 days to complete this platinum just to have some space for error. So I downloaded the game while I was at work and knew that this was the game I wanted to play next. I also need to throw a quick disclaimer out there. My wife was super sick while I was playing this game. I also decided that over the next 2 days, I was going to start getting serious about potty training my daughter, so I didn't really plan on doing anything other than that. So basically the reason I'm telling you this and bringing both of these things up is because over the next 2 days, I didn't really do anything other than chores at home, so I had a ton of time to play and get this game done. So the first day kicks off with me waking up super early in the morning, loading into this game, and the first thing I noticed was that I did not like the inverted controls. I couldn't figure out how to change it either, so here I am trying to look left and I'm looking right and vice versa. I mean, I'm sure I'd eventually get used to it, but I just hope that means they don't change it in the future games. Right? But that's besides the point. You didn't come here to hear me complain. I started off by using Sly's master thieving skills to steal a document from the police department, specifically from Carmelita Fox's office. This document would give me information I needed to find a group known as the Fiendish Five, as they were the ones responsible for stealing the Thevius Raccoonus, and also killing the rest of the Cooper clan. Discovering that the first member that I'll have to go after is Sir Raleigh, I find myself entering the Tide of Terror with my team. Within this game, each area has a safe, which means you will have to find a certain number of clues to unlock the safes. Normally I wouldn't worry about stuff like this, but there are trophies for unlocking every safe in every job, so we'll have to find all the clues. But while collecting the clues, we get our first trophy on board. Get a clue, which I got for collecting 5 clues. Now we're locked into this game, which means I have to play it to completion and get the platinum. Next, I focused on finishing the jobs within Tide of Terror, and also collecting all the safes within this area. But with that, I collected 2 more trophies, Plunder Treasures for unlocking all the safes, and Stopping the Storm for finishing all the jobs. But now with those done, I could focus on the final job, which meant facing Sir Raleigh. Surprisingly, this took me like 2 to 3 times to understand what was going on or how to counter him. But finally I was able to take him down for the Croaking Crook trophy. After defeating Sir Raleigh, he reveals the next member of the Fiendish Five, known as Mugshot, and also tells me where he's at, which makes finding him that much easier. Next, discovering that Mugshot was the next opponent in the Fiendish Five, I set my sights on Mesa City, Utah, where he was held up. Knowing that there was similar trophies for finishing the jobs and unlocking all the safes, I knew I had to focus on the clues. But see, here's the thing. I realized that some missions had extra trophies to them. I had missed some in the Tide of Terror, but backtracking wasn't my priority right now. So once I reached the Boneyard Casino and completed it, I went back in and defeated the 4 enforcers at the beginning without being detected for the trophy, Sleight of Hand. I also unlocked the mine from this job's safe, so I used that on the same enforcers and got the Share What's Mine trophy. Next, I jumped into the next job, straight to the top. While looking for clues, I dropped 5 cars for the trophy Lookout Below. Honestly, I didn't even know this one was a trophy, it just randomly popped, so it was a nice little surprise. Shortly after that, I collected the trophies No More Beaches for Sly for discovering the water safety technique, The Perfect Date for completing the job 2 to Tango without taking any damage or falling, and What a Pain for destroying 7 panes of glass in the job Back Alley Heist. With the completion of Back Alley Heist though, that meant I unlocked the final safe for the trophy Sly's Hot Streak. But this was also the last job, so I got Bringing Down the House. After the completion of this, I was able to face off against Mugshot, and after a few attempts trying to figure out what to do and how he worked, I finally beat him for the Blinding Blaster trophy. After beating Mugshot, he would happily give up the information for the next member of the Fiendish Five, which allowed me to discover more information about Miss Ruby. Now with that information, we were off to the remote swamps. Now jumping into Vicious Voodoo. I was super confident. Sure, this is a PS2 game and I was progressing super well and easily, probably because this game's old and they were meant to not be that difficult back then. But I don't care, I was having fun and it felt like I was really good. But anyways, in the first job, in the swamp, I took down all the voodoo guards without being detected for the Must Have Been the Ghost trophy. Next, going into the Grave Undertaking, I collected the trophy Ectoplasmic Slasher for taking down 5 ghosts with a single attack. This one took me a little bit of work, but we were finally able to do it. Next, collecting Sly Be Nimble, Sly Be Quick for jumping over all candles before the big chase in the lair of the beast. After that, I focused on finishing all the missions, hoping to keep breezing my way through the game. I unlocked all the safes within Vicious Voodoo and got the trophy Swampy Secrets. But while on the last job that I needed that had a safe, I also collected Slightly Pacifist for completing Descent into Danger without defeating any enemies or destroying any alarms. With that, I finished all the jobs in Vicious Voodoo for the Cauldron Disaster trophy. Now it was time to face off against Miss Ruby, which for me was honestly probably the most difficult boss fight in the entire game. Now if you've played this game, I'm sure you're saying right now, but Mitch, this is like the easiest one. Why are you struggling? And with that I ask you, would you truly be able to pay attention to each one of those combinations while being viciously mauled by a 2-year-old? I don't think so. But after a few tries, I eventually managed to finish and collected the Bayou Boogie trophy. After that, Miss Ruby revealed some information on the Panda King, which was the next member of the Fiendish Five, and we found out where we were headed. But before we jump into the Panda King territory, I realized after completing a few of the extra trophies that were job specific, that there was a few I missed back in Tide of Terror. So let's head back there and see if we can clean up the ones we missed. I started off by visiting Fire Down Below, and didn't use any hooks and got Nimble Solutions. Next, we collected Charming the Library for completing a Cunning Disguise without using a barrel. That one was honestly pretty simple. I also revisited a Stealthy Approach and destroyed 4 signs for A Thief Heeds No Warning. Finally, I went into Gunboat Graveyard, and after multiple guides, attempts, and time wasted, I finally managed to get lucky and jump over the flaming debris to collect Through the Fire and Flanks. With that one, we were finally done with all the extra trophies in Tide of Terror, and now it was time to move on to the Panda King. First thing I did was take down a large group of Mugu monkeys and interrupted their training for the This Session's Over trophy. This one was a little annoying and tedious just because you had to keep jumping back up there to attack them. If there was an easier way, I sure didn't find it. I also unlocked the Defy Gravity technique and got Super Cooper. Next, I finished off the remaining jobs and collected Seen and Unwanted, Setting the Mood, and Production Blocker. But for some reason on the last job, even with all the clues, I wasn't able to unlock the final save. It told me I didn't know anything about an owl language. I didn't know anything about this, but I just decided to keep on moving on. I faced off against the Panda King, finally beat him and completed the Panda Pummeler for the last trophy I needed in this area. With that last trophy, I only needed 6 more before I got the Platinum, and we were facing off against the final member of the Fiendish 5, Clockwork. The first thing I did here was foil his plans and got Death Ray Destruction trophy. I was really surprised because all of these jobs were simple and linear and none of them had any saves. So this area took me no time to clear through, which meant I was eventually facing off against Clockwork, and after defeating him, I got the trophies Eternal Enemy and Oh No He Didn't. After beating Clockwork, I went back to open the final safe back in Fire in the Sky. I mean, I saw end credits and figured, why not try? I was able to open it and got Safecracker for unlocking the final vault. With that, I only had 2 trophies left before the Platinum was mine. Speediest Thevius and Knowing is Half the Battle. Now real quick, I just want to point out, I'm only on day 2 of this game, which probably seems like a long time for a 10-hour game, but honestly, for having a family and having other responsibilities that I have to do, I was doing really well for this game, and I was super happy. And at this time, when I only had 2 trophies left, I believe it was already 11 o'clock at night and I had to work the next morning. But I was committed to finishing this game before I had to go to sleep this night. So I went for the sprints first. Since I thought they would be way harder, boy am I glad I did. I had to play multiple jobs multiple times to find ways to get better and beat them with enough time. I also had to learn to roll more often to save time from not having to run. But with that, I finally beat 10 jobs and unlocked Speediest Thevius. After this, it was like 1 a.m. and I needed to go to bed, since I had to work in less than 6 hours at this point. But I had 1 trophy left, which was learning enemy names with the binoculars. I had done it a few times and looked at a few enemies through them, but I had no idea how many. The game doesn't tell you. So I jumped into Sunset Snake Eyes, or Mugshots episode. The reason for going there was I distinctly remember never using them here, so I went to the main city hub and viewed 4 enemies. And with that, I finally unlocked Knowing is Half the Battle. And shortly after that came the Platinum Trophy, and I unlocked a Cooper's Pride. And with that, we were finally done. So what did I think of Sly Cooper and the Thevius Raccoonus? Was it worth the Platinum? Did I have fun with it? Honestly, for being a PS2 game, this was such a fun game to play. I mean, yes, this game was super short, and I think I beat it in literally 10 hours, just like the guide said. But for the 10 hours and 2 days worth of gameplay, I had so much fun with it. The Platinum itself was not difficult at all, the most difficult trophy being completing the 10 master sprints. But with a little bit of practice and time, they got so much easier. As long as you read ahead, you can complete most of the trophies, if not all of the trophies, as you play the game on your first playthrough. And that can be your only playthrough if you wanted it to. The only one you are going to have to go back and do is the safe and Fire in the Sky. Now, this game was definitely a nice change of pace since I didn't have to go out of my way to get all of the trophies, especially since I just finished Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was a complete collectathon, like I said. So this was definitely super nice to be able to just play the game, collect them as I go, and not have to really use too much brain power behind it. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you made it this far and enjoyed, feel free to like the video. Subscribe if you enjoyed. If you want similar content to this or more Platinum reviews, check out my channel. Comment down below some games you want to see me get a Platinum in or 100%. Thanks for watching.